This felt like a really meh reading month to me, but my stats kind of say otherwise. And I basically failed all of my October goals. Hey everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and it's time for October wrap-up. So today I'm going to be going through everything that I read in the month of October and talking about what my goals were that I failed. So I started the month off strong. I started strong. I had finished the first book that I read within 2 days. And so I was like, oh yes, this is going to be great. And it stuck with my theme. I read Barbarian Alien first. If you haven't seen the review, I will post it, I'll link all the things. I read Barbarian Alien first and I liked it. I was like, okay, I checked off the little alien vibe that I said I was going to read. And I was like, yeah, this is great. Another big blue alien checked off the list, and monsters, hitting what I wanted to do, right? Read Barbarian Alien, it was fine. Okay, moved on. Then I read The Kiss Curse because that book showed up in the mail and I was like, okay, this has been out for a couple weeks, gonna get to that. I really, really liked The Kiss Curse. I thought it was fun, it was quirky, it was a great just book to recommend for Halloween, which is why I definitely wanted to get to it in October. I talked about it in my review a little bit, but this one for sure gave me Halloween Town vibes and just kooky, cute, witchy vibes. Just kind of the way it was written is very fluffy, and just if you're looking for something to lighten up October reading, which can definitely be downers sometimes, they can be heavy or they can be scary, this is still a really October Halloween themed book that will give you a break from that. So you still get the vibe from October, but it's not bringing you down. It's kind of lifting you up and making you happy, and just Sabrina the Teenage Witch kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's a good one. I should have said that one. I still like my comparison of Halloween Town and Practical Magic. So I read that one and I was like, okay, great. So now I've got my aliens and I've got my witches. Time for vampires. I planned to read so many vampire books. I did not finish one. I did not finish one. Okay. Technically I did finish one. Technically I did. I DNF'd this. We know that I DNF'd this. But technically, I read the first whole part of it, which is considered a novella, because I didn't realize that this was one book that was 3 previously published novellas that she basically took off of KU, and, well, I guess they're still on KU, but she took them and released them into one large book. I was able to get credit. Someone told me about this, and so I went and I actually got credit for what I had read, because I DNF'd the rest of this, but I did finish the first part, so I got credit for it. Didn't read the rest of it. So kind of a little bit of vampires, but not really. I had so many vampire books planned and was ready for Vampy October. I was ready for it and I failed. I didn't read Vampire Diaries. I didn't read Reborn Yesterday. I didn't read A Shadow in the Ember. What was I doing? What was I doing with my time? Clearly not accomplishing my goals. I DNF'd this, or partly finished it, whatever. I didn't feel like I was in a funk then. I didn't feel like I was in a funk. So I read Spells for Forgetting, and I loved this book. I loved it. It was real life witchy vibe. It was kind of magical realism, fantasy realism. And so this still stuck with my witchy fall theme, right? And so I read this and I freaking loved it. And I haven't talked to anybody else who's read it. So if you have read it, let me know what you thought, because nobody else has talked to me about this. And I thought it was so good, and I really want other people to read it. I think it put me in a book slump, because everything that I read after this, I just kind of didn't want to read. I was trying to read books, and I don't know why I wasn't successfully finishing them or moving forward with them, because I didn't feel like it was the book's fault. Well, I think it's this book's fault. I think this book put me into like a slope because I don't know. I don't know if I rushed to read too many things in the beginning of October, or if like reading a really good book kind of just like killed my momentum for things that came after it. But then the rest of my October was not great. I have been struggling to finish reading books for the whole rest of October except one, and I'll get there. So this is where my TBR kind of deviated. Like we hung a left and we just kept going in a direction that was not predicted. I got a Forbidden Fate in the mail and I was like, I need to read this now. So after Spells for Forgetting, I started reading this one. This was nowhere near what I had planned for October, but it showed up and I was like, the mood is striking. I'm gonna read this. It took me a long time to read, which is why I think that the whole rest of my month just like got dragged out and I barely finished anything. And because this was taking me so long, I was worried about not finishing Belladonna, so I started Belladonna, so then I was reading both of these at the same time, which sometimes I can do. Sometimes I can read 2 books at once. Other times, I suck at it. Like, I cannot do it. So I tried to read both of these at the same time. Epic fail. Epic fail. I ended up reading nothing. I had like dragged out time of finishing both of these books. I had to postpone book club. Like, I just didn't finish. And I don't know why. Was I overwhelming myself? Was it just not what my mood truly wanted? I don't know. I eventually stopped reading Belladonna so that I could finish this, so then I could focus on Belladonna. So I finished A Forbidden Fate, which I did like. This is an indie published book by a content creator. Her name's Kaven. You probably have heard of her. She is the one that does the Akotar skits, and she is hilarious, and this book is like very Kaven. It's very Kaven. I haven't posted the review for it yet, so if you're watching this before I post the review, it is coming. I have already recorded it. So keep an eye out for that. It will be coming soon. She put out a video last year and was like, hey, like, what do you guys think of this idea of these like 2 people who were cursed so they can't touch, but they're kind of in love and they were betrothed to be married, and like what do you think of that idea? And everybody told her to write the book, and a year later I'm reading it. So like, I'm so excited for her. It makes me really, really happy to see people who are content creators who like have this dream of becoming an author, but like we've always only ever been readers, like to actually do it. And so I really am trying to support so many indie authors. I mean, obviously I support traditionally published authors too, but like really trying to read a lot of indie books because there's so many amazing indie books. Like there's just so many good ones. Kaven, we read Kaven's book. Then I was like, oh, I need to finish Belladonna. And I couldn't. I just couldn't. I was trying and I couldn't. So then I went onto my Kindle because I was like, you know what? If I can't read this, I need to read something. I queued up Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, read it in 24 hours. So I was like, my mind just doesn't want this anymore. The TBR that I had planned for myself, that I like sat and I thought about, and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and these are all the books, and here's my backlist stuff that I'm gonna make options. Like, this is what I'm feeling by the end of the month. Wasn't feeling any of it, literally any of it. I was feeling quick read, like spicy romances. And so I read Icebreaker, and Icebreaker gave me exactly that. It was quick read, smutty romance. It was like over 400 pages, so I did not think it was gonna be that quick of a read, but it was. It was like one of my top reads of the month. So then I was like, I need to buckle down. I have to buckle down. I have to finish Belladonna. I cannot let book club down. Like, I can't do it. I literally just sat. I sat for an entire day And my husband was like, this is your job today. You have to finish this book. Every spare minute that I had, I was reading Belladonna. And I finished it. And I finished it in time to record the video for book club, because that's when I was having like, I don't know if any of you guys saw my posts on Instagram, but something happened with my iCloud last week. And it just like went bonkers. Nothing would sync. I couldn't edit my videos. Nothing would like transfer off my phone. Everything was failing. And I just was like, I can't get my content out. Like my Icebreaker video, I was supposed to post on Wednesday, and I sat there all night long trying to finish this freaking video. I didn't finish it until 2 a.m. because I couldn't get anything to work, and I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated. We finally got it to work, and I had to post it on Thursday. So then I was worried about not finishing Belladonna in time for my freaking iCloud to mess up again. And so I was so stressed out about 1, finishing the book, 2, not really feeling the book, and then 3, being able to actually edit and get my video set up and ready to go for the premiere on Friday night. It was stressful. Like I was not anticipating having that many issues, in addition to like not being that thrilled with the book. If you haven't watched my review for Belladonna and you have read it or you're interested in it, I explain why I felt the way I felt, because like it's easy for me to just be like, it was okay, I didn't really like it in this video. I have specific reasons, and they are long reasons. That's a 20-minute video, sorry. I felt like it needed justification. Like I don't like just saying how I felt about a book without justifying reasons why, especially if I wasn't a fan of it. If I loved it, I can talk about reasons why, but typically like there's too many reasons why I loved something. But if I didn't love something, I definitely want to give you why, because that may not be the same for everybody, right? And then other people may be like, oh, well, that's a good reason why not to like something. And then I don't get hate comments about not liking someone's favorite book or something. So then I finished Belladonna. And then I was like, obviously I was not in the mood for the rest of the things that I had planned. So I deviated again. I started reading the Heir, which is book 1 in the Kingmakers series by Sophie Lark. Now, I have not read any of Sophie's other books. I saw this one on social media. I saw it on Goodreads. I actually have been getting like Sophie Lark ads all over my social media. Sophie, if you watch this, your ads are paying off. So I was like, hey, why not try it? I've never read a mafia romance. People love Sophie. It's on KU. I was like, let's see what the fuss is about, because people talk about this one. I queued it up and I have not finished it yet. I'm literally at 50%. I was just reading it before I came in to record this video, but I'm literally at 50%. And initial thoughts are, it's kind of moving a little slow. I was expecting there to be more actually happening at this 50% mark than I feel like has actually happened. It was also interesting to me that the book was written from 3 different perspectives. Like I wasn't anticipating that. So that was something to get used to. So I like it, ? But I feel like I need more to happen. Don't tell me if it does. Like, don't tell me if it does. I don't want spoilers. But I just feel like, where's the oomph? Like, everybody's talking about Sophie. Where's the oomph? Like, I need the oomph. And maybe it's just not in this series. Maybe I just picked the wrong one to start with for her. But I say this because she's releasing an Anastasia retelling. And that's one of the ads that I keep getting. And I think it's coming in December. But she's releasing an Anastasia retelling, so obviously I will be reading that. I wanted to kind of like get other Sophie Lark experience before I went and jumped into that one. Like I wanted to see what her style was, like what kind of characters she writes, things like that. Because I think don't quote me on this, but based on like what I've seen her post and what I've seen around, I think Rasputin is the love interest. Could be wrong. I don't know. He's the villain, obviously. We love villains. It's an Anastasia retelling, so we'll see. We'll see. Let me know if you're interested in reading that. Maybe it may be a contender for book club. Maybe we'll just buddy read it. Who knows? I'm only halfway done with that, so that's gonna bleed over into November because I haven't finished it yet. Overall, October wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. I had 2 5 stars, Spells for Forgetting and Icebreaker. I had 3 3 stars, 1 2 star, and 1 DNF. So like, that's not a bad month. It's not a bad month. Like, I really liked or loved more books than I didn't. It just felt like reading was taking a lot of energy for me. Like, it was taking a lot. And my vibe and my mood got all thrown off from what I had originally planned. So we might be doing something different for November. As always, don't forget to tell me what your favorite book that you read in October was. I will put the links for all of these reviews either linked up in the top where I talked about them or down in the description below. And don't forget, you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Fun Size Reader. See you guys next time.